I'm joined by Sean Callow, senior currency strategist at Westpac. Sean, hi, thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Sean,
the message from you is sell the euro on rallies, and we've certainly had a bit of a rally, haven't we, from the recent low of 118.77 to the figure around 123.12. So you think it's time to sell the euro again?
Well, pretty soon, and I think two-way price action on the euro was always in prospect given the overhang of speculative short positioning, which has been very large for a number of months now. So you will get these bounces, and we have had a little bit of disappointment on the US side, to be honest, a bit of a cooling of some of the growth numbers, particularly retail sales. So there has been a little bit of the relative value has moved back the euro's way, but we don't see it being sustained, and somewhere in that, really anywhere between mid 123s to 125 looks like a pretty good opportunity to sell.
How soon then before we head back towards 120 and possibly move towards 115, Sean?
Well, I think it's a multi-week process. I suspect that the European officials won't be worried so long as it is gradual. There is two-way price action, but we would be selling into the rally. So I'd say on a sort of 4 to 6 week basis, potentially you could see us back down to 120 and 119, given the relative, the underlying relative growth differentials, and of course ongoing concerns over the debt situation, which are still being reflected in wider spreads between Mediterranean debt and bunds.
You say that the pressure is still very much on the ECB to do more. I mean, what else can they do? We know they're, of course, buying bonds, Sean, but how much more can they ratchet up what they're already doing?
Well, certainly the scale could be increased. There's debate over how effective the sterilisation process is, but in aggregate, their balance sheet really hasn't expanded nearly as dramatically as particularly the US and the UK. They were very aggressive in particularly the financial crisis and taking all means necessary, and I don't think the ECB has done that yet. And we've got some of their special measures actually rolling off from 12 months ago. The facility, 442 billion euros a year ago, that rolls off on the 1st of July, so that will actually shrink the amount outstanding.
Money moving into the Aussie dollar, the New Zealand dollar today, Sean. I think I'm right in saying you say we should be short Aussie against the New Zealand dollar. What's the thinking there?
Yeah, that's a relative value play, and it really driven particularly by the RBNZ. It's taken a long time to start its tightening cycle, but now it is underway. It's not very worried about the European threat in terms of the growth side. New Zealand's not reliant on European exports, and it doesn't see too much spillover to this part of the world. So we do think that there's greater scope for New Zealand on the yield differential to move the Kiwi to move in, rise against the Aussie dollar, potentially down to about 120 or below.
Other big news: Russia may add the Australian dollar and the Canadian dollar to its reserves for the first time. What would be the significance of that, Sean?
Well, it would be very substantial. That story did get a lot of interest earlier today in the region. Clearly, it's something that they're only moving gradually towards, but the reality is that many central banks in the world don't yet include the commodity currencies in their reserves. So were that to be the case, that they go through the process and decide that it is liquid enough, etc., that would be potentially see a substantial rise in underlying demand for the Aussie dollar and Canadian. That would actually be something that works against the Kiwi, because a lot of central banks regard the Kiwi as too illiquid.
Okay, thanks very much, Sean. We'll keep an eye on that one. Sean there, senior currency strategist at Westpac.